Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to prune up the FrankenFicus, a medium leaf-sized Ficus benjamina that I grew a cutting over top of the original tree because the top of the tree died in the cold. So I've kind of been rebuilding the tree. It's getting really tall and needs pruning. Here is a look at the tree. So it's got a beautiful trunk. I love all the aerial roots in that. And then the cutting starts about here and comes up. It was a cutting off the original tree. And the structure isn't so good up in the top canopy, and I've been working on that. I did some severe cuts to get it down to a shorter height. So today I'm going to start by profile pruning, and then I'm going to go in and look at the structure of the canopy and do any pruning that's necessary. So trying to get the structure to fan out from the main trunk of the tree, creating a nice umbrella crown for the future. So ficus, generally in nature, they grow wider, the canopy, than the tree is tall. So right now all the shoots are kind of going vertical, so I want to encourage these horizontal branches to grow out. So I'll prune off these vertical ones and try and get that nice spreading umbrella canopy. I'm going to start with the blue scissors, reducing the height of the tree as much as I can and still maintain my kind of spreading branch structure. So here I go. So I'll start by reducing the height. Just cutting it off. I can start to see my branch structure up here now, so I can go lower. Just making a flat top. So that's got it down to the point where I have a lot of sub-branching. The problem with this tree is that I have this one trunk coming out the front, or branch, and behind it I have another one that goes straight up, and all my other branches that'll form the canopy are down lower. So I may have to kind of hard prune that back, getting rid of that kind of vertical trunk sticking up. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. So I definitely want to keep my spreading branches, but I may have to hard prune that top off. It's just so vertical. Let me have a look at it. Yeah, I've got some good spreading branches down at this level. I could at least take this vertical trunk off, so I will. So I'll come in with the ratcheting pruners and take the vertical section off. This will be a big cut, so big cut coming up. Here I go. Oh my goodness. So you can see that took a lot off the top of the tree. And then I've got another vertical branch here. It's not totally vertical, but it's a little too vertical. I've got some better spreading branches. So I think I better take that off also. So here I go. Another big cut for the FrankenFicus. Taking that vertical section off the top. And this will, give these spreading branches light, and they'll grow with more vigor instead of all the vigor going in these vertical sections. So I better step back and have a look at it, see what I've done. Well, it's still looking good. That didn't hurt the tree at all. It's improved it for sure. So now can I go lower with the canopy? I want this tree, fairly low and wide is my eventual goal. So I'll take more off the top here. If this was a Ficus microcarpa, I could defoliate it, but a benjamina, they don't really like being defoliated. You can get a lot of dieback. So I'm definitely down to some good spreading branches now. And I'm wondering if that is a good height for the tree. I think it is. I think if I take it any lower, I'll start to lose the spreading branch structure. I could take it back a little further because it will grow in again. But I think I better do that with individual branch selection, using my shears, selecting what branches I keep. There's a lot of branches that are kind of crossing back, like this one can come off. This one can be reduced back. This one can be eliminated. Some of these older leaves can come out. Getting light to the branches I want to keep. Here's a look at the tree from the distance now. So I think that's a big improvement. So now, you know, as I said, it's just a matter of going in and selecting branches, picking the ones that are fanning outwards and removing the ones that are kind of growing in towards the center of the tree. Okay, so let's have a look at each branch. I'll just follow each branch up. So there's one here that starts from here and it grows across the canopy of the tree, across the trunk line. So that has to be eliminated. So off it goes. Like that. This one branch coming up front, it's quite vertical and straight. And it doesn't fan outwards. So I think it's not the worst branch in the world. I could definitely prune this one off. That's crossing the center of the tree. And it's also very straight. I'd like to reduce it to a branch that's fanning outwards, and I've got a couple of choices here. I've got a nice one on this side, and the rest of it kind of goes vertical and then has a lot of branching off of it. So I think I've got to take that vertical section off. So here I go, big cut coming up. Oh. Keeping, you know, the branches that are fanning outwards. It's still a little awkward, these two branches in front of each other. It's always been a problem, and I've never come up with a solution yet. I mean, I could eliminate this branch and just keep my trunk line here, and then develop these upper ones to kind of fill this space in. It's a difficult decision. Something has to be done there. It's just, I can't have this branch going in front of this branch. It's just, yeah. This is the nicer branch, but if I took the back one off, I would lose the entire top of the tree. Both are very vertical. I do have a branch here that could develop. I think I better resolve this and take it right off. It's been bugging me, you know, for several prunings, what to do in this area, and I think I've got to take that small one off the front, exposing the larger one behind, and then, as I said, grow this branch up. Yeah, I've got to do it. It's a tough decision, but here I go. So I'll come in at the angle here and take it off. Once it's off, it's off. Like that. That fixes that problem area. And now you can see these shoots can grow out. And I should get a better looking canopy eventually. This whole vertical section here can come off. So here I go. Another big cut. Taking that vertical branch off, keeping my ones fanning outwards. This one is going quite vertical. I can prune it back to a more horizontal branch. One that's spreading out. I'm going to take the vertical part off here. Now, you can see the main trunk kind of divides into two here, and part of it goes quite vertical, so I need to prune that back to a more horizontal branch. And I think right here. I believe. I lose a lot of the canopy if I do that, but it will improve it. Yeah, I better do it. Just get rid of that leaf there so I can see what I'm doing. Trying to get rid of that leaf. There. Okay, well, yeah, it's just going too vertical there. So here I go, big cut coming up. Taking that section off. Spreading that canopy out. That's definitely got the canopy more spreading. There's a branch here that's growing back in towards the center of the tree. I'll get rid of that. So I'm just looking at this upper structure now, making sure everything's fanning outwards. I've got this branch kind of growing on top of these other ones here. I better shorten it. Same with this branch, I better shorten it. These ones can get the tips pruned off. Oh, it's looking better. You can see I've kind of, because I removed that one branch, I've lost a bit of mass out the front of the canopy, but it'll grow in again. Let me step back. I'm looking at this branch now. Let me step back and decide what I want to do with that branch. So here is a look at the tree now. And so this branch, I have two choices. I can integrate it into the canopy, which you can see it's kind of integrated now, which looks okay. You know, if you imagine this filling in someday, it would look quite nice. The other possibility is to shorten it back, kind of eliminating that branch, sort of back to here, and then growing the canopy out in that area. I don't want these two lower branches to look identical. They kind of come out, not at the exact same spot. This one's higher, but this one's lower. But I don't want them looking like kind of opposite branches. Again, a tough decision. What to do with that branch? I've left, you know, some shoots to grow down lower in case I do want to shorten that branch back. Covering it up with my hand, seeing what it would look like. Looks okay either way. I think I'd better keep it. I'll just do a bit of structural pruning on it, kind of trimming it up. So this branch is getting a little long, prune it back. This vertical part here can be pruned off. There's a branch growing back in towards backwards that I'm going to take off. It's growing over top of the other branches in that area. And then I got a vigorous vertical shoot here that should at least be reduced back, so I will. Like that. I've got one growing behind that's growing over top of the branch beside it that I'll take off, giving these branches light. And I think I'm going to take that vertical section right off here. It's just too tall and vertical. And then I've got a branch growing kind of back here. It's not really fanning outwards. So I'm going to take this one off and reduce this one to a branch back here. Taking quite a bit off that branch. Reduce this one back. Take the tip off that one. Take the tip off here. There's an old yellow leaf in here I can remove. Now it's got that branch structure sorted out now on this side of the tree. How does it look? Oh, it still looks okay. Now I'm looking at the branch, this one here. I've got a branch growing back in towards the center of the tree that's not fanning out. I'll remove that. And then again, it's going quite vertical, so I'll prune it back to a new leader that's fanning outwards. I will take off this one on the inside, reduce this one back, keeping everything fanning out nicely so every branch gets light. I can prune the tip off here, tip off here, tip off here, and I've got kind of a branch going up here. There's some on the inside that I've got to prune away. Now this part of it's quite vertical, so I'll take it back to a more spreading branch. Take the tip off there. Just examining every branch, pruning it to more that spreading structure. Yeah, that's looking good. There's one growing vertically off a spreading branch here. I'll remove that. There's some new shoots in here I can take out. Some little shoots at the base of that branch. There's one growing straight down here I'll take off. I don't want this getting lumpy in this area. There's another shoot here I can take off. In this branch there's one growing up the inside here. Bring this back to more spreading area, spreading direction. Yeah, that's looking good. This lowest branch here, there's one shooting up vertically here I can take off. The rest are pretty good on that. Here's another vertical one I can take off. The rest look good on that branch. There's one growing towards the inside here I can take off. take this tip off here. And this tip. This tip. And this tip. There's one here growing to the inside. I'll take that one out. And I can prune this vertical part off here. Take that back. Take a stub off here. So you can see this big cut mark where I hard pruned it back. I need to clean that up eventually, and I think today might be the day that I do the cleanup on that, getting rid of that stump here. I was waiting on this stump to, have it die back so you can see the living part of the tree versus the dead part. So I can now prune it back, making it flush once again. So I'll come in here with my nibblers and I'll just nibble that away back to the living tissue. And the deadwood on these ficus, they turn to like balsa wood. They can become very light and brittle. That's why you never see deadwood very much on a ficus, because it just doesn't last. I've got that scar cut back. It's not a pretty scar. It's quite large, but I hope someday it kind of blends in and looks natural. You can really see the basic structure. The trunk comes up and then it divides, and then both are vertical, and it doesn't look good. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. I'll have to think about it. Here's a look at what I took off the tree today. So quite a bit. Some major branches. Yeah, the tree has definitely improved. It's not there yet, that's for sure, but I'll just keep working away at it into the future. So let's have a look at it now. Here's a look at the tree now. So I took steps today to improve the tree for the future. It's going to be, quite a process trying to develop a beautiful flowing umbrella canopy on this tree. It'll be ongoing as new branches grow in. I can use those and prune away the branches that aren't so good and slowly improve the tree over the years. But I think it'll get there. It's a fast-growing species. It tends to backbud quite well. If the branch gets light, it grows new shoots, and yeah, it's a good vigorous tree. So we'll keep working away at it, improving the FrankenFicus into the far future. It is the next day now. I was looking at the FrankenFicus, and I just can't stand that vertical piece there. It's really bugging me. I want everything to kind of fan outwards. So I'm debating about taking the whole top off, reducing that vertical section, and hoping something comes off that remaining piece. I just don't see a future for it going, the trunk line comes up, then over, and then straight up. It just doesn't flow. It doesn't look good. And there's a leader here. I could cut it back, but it still have that vertical section. It's a tricky thing. I may get some shoots come out here, which would reduce that section to a smaller stub, and then I get a more spreading structure. It's just, the direction of the branch is flowing out here, and it just, everything went vertical. Something has to be done. I can't let that develop into this canopy up here. It just wouldn't look right. It had this weird kind of kink in the trunk. So
There's lots of vigor in this section right now. You can see all the canopy up top. So if I do reduce it back, I would probably get a lot of shoots develop out of this section. And I want to keep some, foliage up top just to keep that trunk line alive and keep the sap flowing up it. So I'm thinking of doing a drastic cut. I could bring it back. There's 2 branches down low here. I could cut it off right here. Something's got to be done. I can't live with it the way it is. It's just, it really bothers me. And I do like this as the front. If I rotated it, it's kind of more in line with the trunk line. It looks better, but I don't know. I like this as the front. So, something has to be done, and I've got to do it tonight. All my instincts say I've got to cut it, and all my experience says it's going to sprout a multitude of branches, and one of them will be a really nice direction that I can develop into the leader. So, here I go. I was going to cut it off using this as the leader, but as I said, I still think it's too vertical, and this leader goes vertical too. So I'm going to take it off as low as I can get it, down to these 2 little branches. So here I go. Oh my goodness. Okay, big cut coming up. Click. Click. Done. There's the whole top of the tree off. So there's what I'm left with. It's pretty ugly still, but I think it'll stimulate all kinds of new shoots in this area, and I'll get something that I like. I'm also going to take off this vertical section here, like that. Really reducing the height. And I'm not done yet. I'm thinking reducing this branch back to here. I'll take this one back a bit further. And there's a vertical one coming up here. I can snip back. Okay, well there, it's done. Pretty ugly. But I think it's going to give me what I want in the future. I just wasn't happy. So that's my solution. We'll see how it pans out in the future. I will plant this top as a cutting. It's just too good to throw away. So I'll remove the lower branches off of the cutting. Like that. Cut it back a bit so there's not such a load on the tree. Well, that should do it. A little further on these branches. Yeah. So I'll try that as a cutting. Okay, into the pot it goes. So I'll plant it very deeply, right down to the upper branches, and give it a good watering. So summertime is a good time to root ficus cuttings. When it's warm outside, it's nice and humid in the greenhouse here, so it should take. Yeah, there shouldn't be any problem with it rooting. That's how I rooted the cutting that's on top of the FrankenFicus now. Okay, so that's good and watered. Yeah, I've even thought or toyed with the idea of if I root this cutting, grow the roots long, and then plant it on top of the FrankenFicus again, so it would be like a triple planting. A cutting on top of the original tree, and then a cutting on top of the cutting. It's a possibility for the future. I was working on the Nissan Cube this morning. The wheels, the 17-inch wheels that came with it, had one of the worst cases of curb rash I've ever seen on a wheel. They were just rough. It had just been curbed so many times that they were so ugly. So this morning I got out the file and I filed them all smooth, sanded them, and repainted them. Not the whole rim, but just the lips. And I found the paint that matched it perfectly. So now the wheels look pretty good now. I'll show you a view of them. So this wheel down here was the worst of all four. The edge was just so rough. So you can see now it's looking really, really nice. You can see how the paint matched really well. There's still the odd scratch in the wheel, but maybe another day I'll touch those up too. So now all the four wheels are looking really good on the Cube. I have been invited to Cars and Coffee with my Nissan Cube by a fellow who lives in the neighborhood, so there'll be a bit of a cruise coming up next Saturday. All kinds of cool cars and motorcycles, and then we're meeting at a coffee shop that they own, and we'll get some fresh ground beans and make some coffee, and it should be quite exciting. So I'll definitely video the event. Yeah, so the Cube is getting better all the time. I've got some touch-up paint for it that I can fix any nicks in the paint, any chips. There's a few, especially up front here. There's the odd place where it's got some gravel hitting it. So still lots of work to go on the Cube. Getting it ready for the Cars and Coffee event coming next Saturday. Here's an update to Julian's hood for his Fiat. So we cut these vent holes in the side of the hood. This is a spare hood we bought at the scrapyard. And then we made these fiberglass inserts for the holes. So they're right here. So they're made of fiberglass. And they go in right like this. So it kind of finishes off the opening. Looks pretty cool. So I think these will either be painted black or red. So today is painting day for the hood. We're putting the color coat on, which will be very exciting. Well, it's not a color coat, it's sort of a metallic white, pearl white, I guess. So, yeah, big day today for the hood, and I'll show you the hood when it's all painted up. Here is an update to the hood. So we sprayed the color coat on. It worked really well, nice even coat. However, we ran short of spray paint. We got these two little bottles here. We ordered 2 cans and they came in as these little tiny cans. So we ran kind of short, unfortunately. It's not a good full coat. You can see some of the gray primer still showing through. So we're going to get some more paint on Monday. So we'll let this coat harden, then we'll give it a light sanding, and then reapply the color coats. And there is, we've got clear coat to go over it once it's finally looking good. And the inserts, we've been working on those, getting them looking good. So they just fit in like that. And they'll get painted black to match the rest of all the vents on the car, and it should look pretty good. It's been quite a project getting this all done, and it's getting closer. So more updates will be coming on the Fiat Abarth hood. Working on cars was always my hobby until I got into bonsai. I like bonsai more than working on cars, but I still enjoy, restoring cars and fixing them up. So yeah, we'll stay tuned for my FrankenFicus, see how it develops in the future.
I think it's on the right track once again. I think this operation will be a success. I am going to seal that top cut with some rubber cement. But that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.